How's everybody doing tonight? Just got through watching sitting watching a little bit of the World Series right now. Just got through watching the West Virginia Akron basketball game. Wasn't able to see the whole game when it was live, so I went back and finished watching it later. I haven't done any basketball videos yet. I've been so busy doing football videos, haven't really had a chance. But so I thought I'd jump on here live and just kind of talk about the game, my reaction to the game, go over some of the key stats, just what I thought overall about West Virginia's performance. It was just an exhibition game, so it didn't mean a whole lot, but it still gives us an idea what this team looks like. Akron's not a terrible team; they're a MAC team, so it's not like they were, Division II or something. So it's a respectable opponent for an exhibition game. Astros just put a man on third base in the top of the eighth, down 1-0. I'm a Braves fan, by the way, so I'm a little nervous about that. But anyway, back to the basketball game. West Virginia won the game, 74-59 over Akron. Saw a lot of good things. West Virginia's got 7 new players this year. I got their names right here. I'll post in the comments later, but DeMond Kerrigan they got 3 fifth-year senior transfers. DeMond Kerrigan from FIU, Malik Curry from Old Dominion, Polycat from DePaul. All 3 of those are fifth-year transfers. And then they got 4 freshmen: Kobe Johnson, Jamel King, James Okonkwo, and Seth Wilson. Unfortunately, Seth Wilson wasn't there tonight. He had a death in his family. His father passed away, so he didn't play. And Okonkwo has a broken foot, so he didn't play. But everybody else played at least a little bit. Liked what I saw out of Kerrigan. He blocked a couple shots, played with a lot of energy. Malik Curry, the kid out of Old Dominion, played with a lot of energy, some good on-ball defense. Kobe Johnson, that freshman, Huggins has been talking a lot of good things about him. He looked good. Once again, good effort, good hustle. I like his defensive effort. He did make a lot of mistakes, turned the ball over a few times, but you know what? He's young. He's a freshman. That's going to happen. The star of the game, Taz Sherman, man. Taz Sherman had 29 points in this game. And didn't even play a lot in the second half, really. He has a chance. In my opinion, Taz has a chance to be the best guard in the Big 12 this year, if not one of the best in the country. But he had 29 points. Second on the team was Sean McNeil with 10. Sean didn't shoot the ball as well tonight as he usually does. He was 2 for 6 from three-point range. Jalen Bridges had 7. Isaiah Cottrell had 8. DeMond Kerrigan had 5. Malik Curry had 5. Polycat 2. Kobe Johnson 8. Those are the points. The one thing I was disappointed in is West Virginia got out rebounded in this game, 36-32 by Akron, which that's not the that's not the identity of a Bob Huggins team. His teams out rebound their opponents. That's what they're all about. The free throw percentage was 60.9, which is not very good. 3-point percentage was 36.4. Not terrible, but needs to be better for them to win the way this team is put together. They need to make their threes. They probably need to shoot at least 40% or close to it to be the team they need to be. Total field goal percentage was 44.8%. Well, there again, not terrible, but could be better. There was some sloppy play out there, but like I said, and Huggins, of course, his post-game pressure wasn't happy with their defensive effort. But, Huggins is never happy with defense because he's a perfectionist when it comes to defense. But I thought they looked okay. Gabe Bowen did his thing. What's up, John Kelly? John Kelly says, I'm glad him and McNeil are back talking about Taz. John Kelly saw some highlights. What's up, buddy? Glad you're on here, man. But yeah, I thought overall it looked okay. I remember they actually look better than I thought they would. I was a little bit nervous coming into the season that this team wouldn't be very good because they have so many new faces. But even though they're new, 3 of the guys are fifth-year seniors, so they've got experience playing in D1 at the D1 level. And, they're physically ready to play, which helps. And especially, those inside guys, because they're going to get beat and banged on down there. No, he hasn't, but they didn't look super young. They're not. That's right. I didn't realize. I knew we had several transfers, John, but I didn't realize all of them were fifth-year seniors. That's what I didn't realize. But that's a good thing, I guess, because they're going to be ready to play and hopefully contribute now. And I liked what I saw out of Kobe Johnson. That freshman. He's a little sloppy, but he's definitely got potential. And he's definitely athletic. And I'll tell you, Kedrian Johnson at the point guard position, he showed me something at the point guard spot on defense, especially. His on-ball pressure was really good, I thought, at times. And he's very, he's quick and he's very fast. Yeah, they were up 32, I think, John. I was multitasking, man, while I was watching the game, but yeah, I do think you're right. They did let up, and that's one of the things Hugs actually talked about. He didn't like the fact that they let their foot off the gas. He wanted them to keep their foot, pedal to the metal, and they didn't. And he was upset about that. He said some of the guys were pouting because they weren't getting to play enough. And, he's got 15 guys on the roster. So, not everybody's going to get to play a lot. So he was a little unhappy about that. But, anytime you got a team with a lot of new faces, you're going to have some of that kind of stuff. Everybody's got to buy in, and everybody's got to adjust to their way, the new way of doing things. Even though they're fifth-year seniors, some of these guys, they're not used to the West Virginia way or the Huggins way. They've got to. I'm sure there's an adjustment period there. John says they look like they're going to shoot tons of jumpers. They are. And Taz, he basically looks like he gives Taz and McNeil the green light to shoot at any time they want. And I tell you what, man, I was really impressed. It won't surprise me if Taz Sherman ends up being one of the top scorers in the league, if not the top scorer. That guy just flat out, he gets that ball, he's looking to score it. I mean, that's all there is to it. But what worries me, anytime you got a team that lives and dies by the jump shot, as you know, John, when they have an off night, it's hard to win, man. That's with the John Beeline teams, man. That's what they didn't have a lot of off nights, but when they did, they didn't win because they didn't do many other things very good. As far as like rebounding, especially, they weren't a good rebounding team, so they didn't get a lot of extra. When they missed their shots, they didn't get a lot of extra possessions to make up for it. John, the biggest player, has a nice three-point shot. Even he will be catching on the baseline to pop threes. Yes, that's you're probably talking about Isaiah Cottrell, however you pronounce it. He can shoot. He had an off night tonight. He wasn't hitting the shot. Well, actually, he did hit 2 threes tonight. So I'm a little off on that. He hit. He was 2 for 3 from three-point range, but I saw him miss a couple easy ones from in close. One of them he actually airballed. So he was a little off tonight. But you got to keep in mind he hadn't played since the first few games of last year because he had his Achilles tendon injury. So he hadn't played much. So these guys are getting their feet wet. They did have a quote unquote secret scrimmage a week or so ago against Dayton that nobody's supposed to know about, but they're not allowed to talk about for some reason. Another stupid NCAA rule, and I don't know anything about it because obviously they can't talk about it. But so this is not their very first competition, but it's only their second exhibition game. They play Oakland, I think, on the 5th, I think it is, and then they got Pitt. So the 5th or the 9th, they play Oakland, and then they've got Pitt at some point too in the next couple of weeks. So that's going to be interesting. I'm anxious to see that Pitt game. I mean, the second game of the season is against an ACC Power 5 team. Braves just hit a home run. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on. Let me see who hit this. Travis D'Arnaud hit a home run, 2-0 Atlanta. Bottom 8. I love it. I love it. All right. Hug said there's no 260-pound big man this year like Culver or Devin Williams, so we're going to pass the ball and use speed. Yes, exactly. You watched the post-game press conference too, didn't you, John? I see. I've been hesitant to do college basketball videos. I mean, I was going to do them, but I've been busy, and I've also been putting it off. Josh Critchfield, can't wait to say eat shit pit. Me too, man. But obviously I've built somewhat of an audience up talking college football, and I don't want to alienate any of those folks, but I would imagine that the majority of them are probably college basketball fans as well, especially the ones that are Mountaineer fans. There's not a lot of Mountaineer fans out there that don't watch West Virginia basketball that I know. But so anyway, but I want to talk basketball too because I like it too. So people that don't like it don't have to watch. Josh Critchfield. Appreciate you coming on, Josh. See what other stats here. Free throw percentage 60.9. I think I mentioned that earlier. We were out rebounded by 4, which I didn't like. That's a little concerning, especially against Akron. Because how are we going to do against Oakland game on November 9th? Yes, John, thank you. ESPN Plus has the Oakland game on November 9th. I couldn't remember if it was the 5th or the 9th. I kept having the 5th in my head for some stupid reason. All turnovers. We forced 20 turnovers. That was good. I think this team has the potential to play really good defense. Maybe not up to Hug standards, but I think they look like they could be better defensively than last year's team. And I think a lot of that is just athleticism. I think this team has obviously we lost Deuce. Can't replace that, but Culver was not that athletic. He was just a big guy with some decent feet. It was somewhat skilled around the basket, but I think the guys we're replacing him with are more athletic than him, and we definitely got some shot blockers now, which I like. Kerrigan and Polycap are both shot blockers, which we haven't had since Sags left. They're already promoting the Pitt game on the ESPN2 for national TV. Yes, they are. They are, and I like it. And I love how Fran Fraschilla was there. Fran Fraschilla absolutely loves WV and Bob Huggins, man. That guy, I love that guy. He gives West Virginia more props than any other ESPN host or analyst out there. He was actually at that game tonight, and I loved it. He and Hugs are pretty tight, I think. What I did notice too, that Cine Njai and Taj Tweed, who were both on the team last year, neither one of those guys played a lot. Well, Njai did. He played about 6.5 minutes. Gabe didn't play a whole lot either. But he was in foul trouble. That was why he had 4 fouls. That's the problem. Hug said he don't start Gabe because Gabe fouls so much that he can't afford him to foul out, and he needs him in at the end of the game. So he don't start him because he's afraid he'll get too many fouls early. So and a lot of those were hustle plays, John. They were trapping well. They're not going to be the West Virginia team by any stretch of the imagination, but they can definitely wreak some havoc. I think get some steals, force some turnovers with their quickness and their speed. Especially the 2 Johnson guys, Kobe and Kedrian. Both of those guys are pretty athletic. And I tell you what, I think Jalen Bridges will have a good year. I mean, he had a solid night tonight. He played 20 minutes, was 3 for 5 from the floor, 1 for 2 from 3, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, only 1 turnover and a steal, and 2 blocks. I mean, his plus and minus was 19. If you guys know what plus and minus is, my understanding, the plus minus is a stat that indicates how your team did while you were in the game, basically. So while Jalen Bridges was in the game, the team basically won by 19 points while he was in the game, or outscored the other team by 19. The biggest plus minus obviously was Taz, and his was 36. No surprise there, but Jalen's was second at 19. Isaiah Cottrell was 10. Sean McNeil, 12. Malik Curry, 15. He played a good game. He had a solid game, 17 minutes, only 1 for 6 shooting. but he was 3 for 4 from the foul line. See, 4 assists, 3 steals. Yep, Malik Curry had 3 steals. Malik Curry is the 5th-year transfer from Old Dominion. And then, like I said, Demond Kerrigan is a 5th-year transfer from Florida International. And then Pauly Polycap is from DePaul. Yeah, he's got to stop the fouls. And, Hugs would like to put him under the basketball more, but he just, number one, Gabe's not really good offensively. He's kind of which I did read in the offseason that he put in a lot of work offensively and has gotten a lot better at his offensive game. They have used the transfer portal well, John. I agree. Hugs has done a good job with that over the last, since he's been at West Virginia, really. I mean, we've had Tariq Phillip, Jay Sean Page, Tavon Myers. There's another one there. Casey Mitchell. We had a lot of good transfers. That's just a few of them. I'm sure there's more. But anyway, really excited for the basketball season. My expectation for this season, I want to touch on that. I do think we might take a step back a little bit from last year because we are losing. I mean, obviously, we're losing an NBA guy and an All Big 12 performer in Culver, and the NBA guy being McBride, obviously. And then, of course, we lost Emmett Matthews too, who was a contributor, and we did lose Jordan McCabe, who I loved as a player, but man, he just didn't. He never did pan out really like I thought he would. I really had high expectations for Jordan McCabe when he came to West Virginia, but he just wasn't the player that I thought he was going to be. I liked him as a person, and he was a good leader. He was unselfish, and I wish him all the best at UNLV where he's at now. But for whatever reason, he just never was able to translate. His game never translated maybe to West Virginia style or something. I don't know, but what I'm trying to get to is we did lose some guys that were contributors, and we're replacing them with new guys pretty much. So that's hard to do. And I don't know. I'll be honest. I think this team might be lucky to make the NCAA. If West Virginia can make the NCAA tournament with an 8 or 9 seed this year, that's probably my expectations. I just don't think Hugs usually works them out in the long run and gets them competitive and puts them in the East. I agree. I think he will, but I don't think they'll be the team they were last year. I figure they'll win 18, 19 games probably and get in the tournament, but they'll probably win a couple games that they shouldn't win. Upset. They do that every year. They seem to beat a 1 or a 2 ranked team or something that they shouldn't beat to get their quality wins up there. But to get in the tournament. But I'm not expecting a whole lot from this team. So if they can, like I said, if they can get an 8 or a 9 seed in the tournament, then that's kind of my expectations for this season. I'm not expecting anything. I'm not expecting a Sweet 16 run or Elite 8 run, or obviously I'd love to see that, but I don't know that that's realistic. But now I could be totally wrong. This team could shock me. They play UConn, Pitt, Ole Miss, and of course that tournament. Yeah, that's and I can't remember who's in that tournament, but you're talking about the one in where is the tournament at? Is it Myrtle Beach? No. Where's that tournament at, John? I can't remember, man. I'm having trouble shifting my brain from football to basketball. I haven't gotten that mode yet, really. It's that time of year where I love this time of year because you got football, you got basketball starting up, you got the World Series. It's a great time to be a sports fan. I don't follow baseball like I used to, but I do try to keep up with playoff baseball, especially when my Braves are playing. But I'm not passionate about it like I am football and even basketball. Yeah, thank you, John. For some reason, I was thinking it was Myrtle Beach, but I think they played in it a couple years ago. I think it may be a different one. But yeah, UConn's always good. Pitt's always respectable. Ole Miss, you know that they can put a good team out there. And of course, the Big 12 schedule, which is going to be, I'm sure, brutal again. Kansas, Texas Tech, Baylor, the defending champions, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Texas. What a schedule, man! Holy cow! And think how good the Big 12 is going to be in basketball when we add Cincinnati and BYU. Charleston, South Carolina, Josh. Thank you. I wasn't too far off. I was in the right state anyway. And by the way, if you all have not been to Charleston, South Carolina, it is a beautiful place. We were blessed to go back in the spring, my family and I, and then I loved it. I want to go back. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been to, in my opinion. Didn't get to spend enough time there. We were only there for like 2 or 3 days, and of course the ladies like to shop, so we spent most of our time shopping. Didn't really get to see. We did go through a plantation, an old plantation that they turned into a garden. Beautiful place. But I don't want to bore y'all with that kind of stuff. Unless y'all want me to. I'll talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. I don't care. John Kelly, St. Bonaventure, Ole Miss, Clemson, Marquette, and Boise State is in it. Boise State, that's interesting. Because if they may end up in the Big 12 with us at some point, and I don't think their basketball program has been all that good, but from what I hear, it's getting better. So I'd be anxious to see what they look like in basketball. And Clemson, that's not a bad lineup right there. ACC team, a big Marquette, I guess, is Big East in basketball, I guess. And of course, SEC, and then St. Bonaventure is probably A10, maybe Atlantic 10. And of course, Mountain West for Boise. The Shriners Children's Classic Tournament. Yep. Love it. Love it. And what's cool about this exhibition game tonight, which, John, I'm sure you know, being the fan you are, and Josh, you probably do too, but the money they raise for cancer research. Braves just won Game 3. They're up 2 games to 1. Tomahawk Chop is in store at the Walker House. We got Elon first round November 18th. Shaka Smart is Marquette's coach. Oh, yes. Man, he's a heck of a coach, Josh. I forgot about him going to Marquette because that's who Chris Beard's replacing him. Chris Beard's going from Texas Tech to Texas. Yeah, Marquette will be good. Shaka Smart's a good coach. I thought he had some success at Texas, but I think he was really just getting Texas to where they were going to be competing for at the top of the conference consistently, and then he left. And I'm sure Chris Beard will continue because he's a heck of a coach too. The Big 12 is just loaded with coaches, man. In basketball, man, especially. I don't know when Kansas is going to ever get in trouble for the crap they pulled. It don't look like they're going to. It's kind of a shame. Oh, I want to see, what do you all think about Huggins made that statement a week or so ago in an interview that he thinks the Autonomy 5 conferences should pull away from the NCAA and have their own basketball tournament and not do the NCAA tournament anymore. I thought that was very interesting. I know Hugs has never been a huge fan of the NCAA and the way they do things, but I never thought he would say that. I actually kind of agree with him in a way. A lot of people don't, but I do, because I think he was talking about the money. The basketball doesn't make any money other than March Madness. Well, and all that money goes to all these other schools that aren't in the Autonomy 5, and it basically helps support the football programs. So if they could do their own tournament, the Autonomy 5 would get all their money, get all the money from that tournament, and they wouldn't have to share it. And when they're the ones, the Autonomy 5 teams are making most of the money, but yet they got to split it with the non-Autonomy 5 teams. So I don't know. What do y'all think? What do you think, John and Josh? Y'all think that's a terrible idea? Good idea? There wouldn't be as many great Cinderella stories, but from a financial perspective, I think it makes sense. Eastern Kentucky, Bella, I don't know how to pronounce that. Youngstown State and Radford all are on ESPN Plus. Yes. Yeah, that basketball has a lot of games on an ESPN Plus format, which I have it, but I know a lot of fans don't, and a lot of fans can't afford it, or just don't want to spend that extra money, and I get it. I was hesitant to do it myself, to be honest, but I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. But I'll probably watch most. I watch. I try to watch every game, but I have a hard time getting into the games against these smaller teams. It just doesn't. It's just not as exciting. But I will watch them. And the Radford game is going to be interesting. Trivia question. I wish I could do. I can't do polls or anything yet because I don't have enough subscribers. But who do y'all think is? Do y'all know who the coach is at Radford University's basketball team? Yeah, I know, John. Iowa State games on the ESPN Plus. That's a shame. John, do you know who the coach is at Radford? John, I'm not sure I like if you win or the best team in the country, not just your conference. Right, I got it. Yeah, you're right. But he's saying he don't think the NCAA tournament should just go away, but he thinks it should be strictly for the non-Power 5 teams, basically, and that the Power 5 should do their own tournament. Darius Nichols, John, that's correct. And I actually met Darius Nichols. I actually had lunch with him one time, man. Super nice guy. I got his autograph somewhere. I was actually going to make it part of my background that I have here, but he autographed a towel for me, a West Virginia towel, and I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. Super nice guy. I was making sales calls for my job in Johnson City, Tennessee, several years ago, and made a cold call to a guy. He found out I was a West Virginia fan. He said, "Hold on a minute." He picks up the phone. He says, "Hey, Darius, I got someone here that likes to meet you." And 5 minutes later, he shows up, walks in the door. We meet. I get his phone number. And the next time I was in town, I called him up and we had lunch. It was really cool. He kind of filled me in on the differences between John Beeline and Bob Huggins. Told me some pretty interesting stories. He made that shot in New York to win the NIT. He did, and he and I talked about that a little bit. He was one hell of a good player for us. Yes, he was, Josh. I love Darius, and he's a good dude too, and a heck of a coach. He actually helped Hugs run. He actually helped teach Hugs the 1-3-1 defense. He and Joe Mazzulla, so that they could run it after Hugs, because Hugs didn't know how to run the 1-3-1 when he got there. So he let Darius and Joe and them teach him. But I'll tell you guys what Darius told me. I don't think it's anything in confidence or secret, but I was asking him the differences because Darius was recruited by John Beeline. And then when Hugs got there, obviously he stayed. But he said Bob Huggins' practices are so hard that it makes games easy. The practices sucked, but games were fun. But he said with John Beeline, it was kind of the opposite. Practices were fun, and games were more stressful because John Beeline runs a more complicated offense that you have to do a lot of thinking. And because you've always got to know where you're going and all this stuff, where Hugs runs more just of a motion, type offense. And so I thought that was interesting. And then, too, about Hugs' practices, he said that obviously they're extremely physically demanding, much more so than John Beeline's. They do much more conditioning and stuff under Huggins than they did under Beeline. But John Kelly says in our old Big East days, New York City was like a second home. They liked WVU coming to the tournaments there. Yes, man, that Madison Square Garden was awesome. Awesome. But anyway, the stories, the practices, he said that Kevin Pittsnoggle, when he was playing, would always fake injuries. He always played under Beeline, but he said Kevin would fake injuries and stuff all the time to get out of running. It was fun. It was just funny hearing him tell those stories. And I don't remember them all, but I'm not saying Kevin Pittsnoggle was lazy or anything. I think it was just all done in fun. But because obviously Kevin Pittsnoggle was a heck of a player. He's actually my favorite all-time player at West Virginia University. I loved watching that guy play. He was so fun to watch. A 6'11" dude from the hills of West Virginia, covered in tattoos. Looked like he comes straight off the farm. Shows up on the basketball court and just starts raining threes in your eye all day long. I mean, it was just, I loved watching him play. Absolutely loved it. He was fun to watch. But yeah, it was meeting Darius was pretty cool. So I love to see Darius eventually get a Power 5 head coaching position somewhere, and I'm sure he's on his way. He started out as a grad assistant under Huggins, and then he worked his way up to an assistant under at a couple smaller schools, Northern Kentucky, I think, for a while. Then he ended up at Florida for several years as an assistant, and now he's a head coach at Radford, which is actually where he went to school. So it's probably pretty cool for him to be coaching his alma mater. And Radford's actually not far from me. I can be to Radford from my house in about an hour. I mean, I'm not a Radford sports fan by any means, but it is really, it's really close. It's in the same, for those of you who may not be familiar with the area, it's in the same vicinity as Virginia Tech. It's in that Blacksburg, Roanoke area. John Kelly, I remember we going deep in the tournament with Pittsnoggle. Yeah, man, those were, and what was cool about that team is they weren't supposed to be any good. I mean, they were just a bunch of guys nobody heard of. Most of them weren't highly recruited. They weren't that, you wouldn't look at them and say, man, that guy's just a great player. He's talented. But they absolutely would outwork you, out-hustle you, and outsmart you, and outshoot you. That's what they did. They were smart, and they were smart. They hustled their tail off, and they could shoot the lights out, man. That was just – they were in every game because of their three-point ability, man. They were in every game. What was cool is I had a shirt one time that said, "You've been Pittsnoggled," and had his picture on it. It was pretty neat. I wore that thing for years until the picture finally faded off of it and I had to quit. Joe Airbear, Joe Alexander, Mike Gansey. I met Mike at Cheat Lake. He was working on the golf course. That's awesome. John, you live up that way, if I'm not mistaken, don't you? Near Morgantown. And you don't have to answer that, but I don't know. I don't mean to tell everybody where you live. I just thought I remembered you mentioned that one time in a chat somewhere. John, did you watch or listen to the Driveway Dreamer documentary about Mike Gansey? About an hour south of Morgantown. So you live, because I travel up that way for work a lot. I know where. So you're even south of Jane Lou, maybe Roanoke, West Virginia area down that way. Weston, Buchanan, somewhere in that. But yeah, there's a documentary. If you go on the Time to Climb web, Time to Climb. I think it's timetoclimb.com, something like that. They have a thing where they have like a 30-minute documentary on that it's a audio only, but about Mike Gansey, about his life. It was pretty neat. Was born in Morgantown by the old university, Barber County near the Western Mountains. Okay, cool. Good deal, man. There's only 3 of us on here, so not everybody's gonna know where you live. University Hospital. Cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, guys, I don't really have anything else to talk about unless you guys got something. I just want to get on here and kind of give my thoughts on the basketball exhibition game. I'm probably not going to be doing a video tomorrow because I'm not even going to be here for the whole game tomorrow. I'm taking my youngest daughter to a concert tomorrow night, and it's about 2 hours away, so I'm going to have to leave somewhat early in the day and while the game's on, basically, to get there. Pretty close to the heartbeat of WU Sports. Yeah, John, if I lived up that way, man, I'd probably have season tickets, but where I live in the southern part of the state, man, it's so far for me to get there. It's hard for me to make it a lot. So it's basically a whole weekend for me to go to a game, and I just don't have time nor the money really, to get a hotel room every night and all that stuff. So the tickets ain't even that. I mean, the tickets are expensive too, but it's all the other things: the hotel room, the food, the gas, all it all adds up, as you know. Getting more people on here now, so let's keep going. We're talking about the West Virginia exhibition basketball scrimmage, or the exhibition basketball game that was on tonight against Akron. West Virginia won 74-59. Taz Sherman had 29 points and didn't even play that much in the second half. He was just on fire, man. I think he's going to be the go-to guy for this offense for sure. I mean, he just looks like he could end up being one of the best players in the league. But I thought just to recap for those of you who may have missed it, West Virginia played pretty good defensively, I thought. Huggins didn't think so, but a lot of the new guys looked like they were putting in a lot of effort, playing with heart, hustle, which I was happy to see because sometimes with new guys you never know what to expect. But it looks like they're buying in. It didn't look like a team that hadn't played together much. It looked like a team that was gelling a little bit, and I don't think it's going to take long for this group to gel and get used to playing together. My mom's family came from the coal fields in McDowell County. Yep, right down the road from me, John. I'm 1 county over, man. Taz and McNeil giving the night. Yep. Taz and McNeil are the guys. Going to be the guys for sure. Yeah, I look for Jalen Bridges to be the third guy. A lot of people are saying Cottrell, but I think Jalen Bridges will end up being the third guy, really. Just the way he's grown and improved over the last couple of years, which is awesome too because he's a West Virginia kid. I think he's from Fairmont. But anyway, I'm going to jump off of here. Like I said, I won't be doing a video tomorrow because I'm going to a concert, so I doubt I had a chance to. So I do have some videos that's going to be published tomorrow that I've already done. But what I mean is I probably won't do. I doubt I'll be doing a halftime reaction video or a game recap. I'll do my I'll do my review video probably on Sunday. Once I've had a chance to watch the game in its entirety, or at least most of it, and but I probably won't be doing any halftime reactions or anything like that tomorrow. But I do have some videos that are going to be going up tomorrow or over the weekend that I've already worked on. Be looking for those. One of them, just to give you a hint, one of them is about Rich Rodriguez. And then one will be a little bit about, I'm not going to give it all away, but the other one will be about, this one may drop on Sunday, but it's going to be about all the coaches that have been fired across the country. John, let's beat the Cyclones tomorrow. Their heads are up right now. I got a good feeling about the game tomorrow. We'll see. I actually, John, I predicted West Virginia to lose the game based strictly on stats and matchups. But with all the intangible things included, I actually kind of feel good about it too, buddy. I'll be honest with you. I predicted more with my head than my heart, and ain't gonna lie, there was a little bit of superstition involved because I picked against West Virginia last week and they won. So why not keep the trajectory going, right? Don't want to jinx it. I'm not hugely superstitious, but play the hand you're dealt, right? So yeah, I feel good. I think West Virginia. Even if they don't win, I think it'll be a close game. I don't think they'll blow us out like they've done the last 3 or 4 years. Listen, I'm gonna sign off. John, I appreciate you hopping on. Josh, I appreciate you hopping on. I don't know who else is on here. Whoever else is on here, I really appreciate you. What was? But anyway, you guys enjoy the game tomorrow. However you're accessing it, whether TV, whether you're going. Hopefully, some of you can go to the game. But either way, Let's go Mountaineers. Until next time. Good night.